My name is Hector from Agent San Francisco, real estate agent. I'm here with Teresa Grobecker from Grobecker Holland International. And today we're talking about Bitcoin and transacting, buying property, buying real estate in Bitcoin. Teresa, can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. In San Francisco, we have a lot of tech forward thinking people who have invested in Bitcoin. There's been a lot of volatility lately, so we figured out a way to go from Bitcoin, which is a great asset class up and coming, but also to be able to diversify into real estate and to move unlimited amounts of Bitcoin into real estate.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can you explain the details of how that happens?
Yeah, absolutely. It is a process that we've worked through. So a little bit about my background. I'm a real estate broker. I have about 40 people working for me. We own a broker-owned non-independent escrow company. And so that means that we can move Bitcoin into real estate. We're very familiar with the entire process of buying and selling real estate. So what happens is the buyer who's holding Bitcoin can move unlimited amounts of Bitcoin into real estate, and that transaction starts when they identify a property. I see and verify their funds. I write a cover letter that goes in to the offer. Once the offer is accepted and all the contingencies have been lifted, then the buyer moves the Bitcoin. And what I do is I invoice the buyer for the amount in US dollars. And from there, it's the buyer's choice when they want to convert those funds into US dollars. And then that money is insured once they decide to sell and move that into the fiat currency. From there, the money goes into my corporate bank account for escrow services, and then it moves along to the seller.
Interesting. I like the process, and I think that's golden and key. But there's number one question that everyone keeps asking, and the question is volatility. What happens when you're in escrow and you lock down the contract, and then overnight, the value changes? What happens to the transaction?
That's such a great question, and that comes up a lot because the price has appreciated a lot, but also we are seeing volatility. So one way that we can mitigate some of this risk is the seller might ask for an extra cushion of Bitcoin. So that say there's a slide in the value of Bitcoin, we know that the buyer can absorb that risk. And then also, once we get to the point where contingencies are lifted and I invoice the buyer for the Bitcoin amount, when that buyer then decides, it's been going up and down and up and down, he's probably watching it all the time, he or she. When he or she decides to make that transaction and sell the Bitcoins go into dollars, from that moment, the third-party exchange that we've partnered with absorbs the price risk.
Wow.
They've been capitalized with $1 billion of cash to handle any of that price fluctuation. So that process between them executing the trade and this going into fiat dollars, it takes about 48 hours, up to 48 hours. And in that 48 hours, that volatility price is absorbed by this third-party exchange that we've partnered with.
Bingo. And this is within the process that you've created, you get this assurance from the exchange, correct?
Absolutely.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Awesome. So that is the number one question. Everybody is asking me that question, and they can't get it over their minds. How would this happen, right? Number two question, realtors. This is one of the questions that you've been asking me, and it is, do I have to get a listing and have the seller and convince the seller to sell it in Bitcoin?
Yeah, that's such a key question, right, in this whole thing. So with our services, this is seller's choice of what kind of currency he or she accepts. So the seller can accept US dollars, which is fiat currency. The seller can accept Bitcoin if he or she is into Bitcoin, and we have some sellers in San Francisco
Nice.
who are like that. Or the seller can accept a little bit of both. It's really seller's choice. Yeah, so there's a lot of flexibility. We also have the capability of lending on a snapshot of Bitcoin. So, there are many different ways to get a deal done.
Are you telling me you could lend Bitcoin to transact?
That's a great question. Yeah, so the lender is going to look at a screenshot of what Bitcoins are available, right, as proof of funds. And we're going to be able to source that, track it, and that's the way that lenders look at assets, right? So we can do that process, but before the end of the transaction for that portion of it, that's going to move into US dollars.
Interesting. So the lender will lend in US dollars or Bitcoin?
or US dollars for now.
Okay.
We are in
All right.
talks with some lenders who might be forward thinking and moving to Bitcoin, but I think we're a few months away from that.
I need to get approved with that lender. I want to get approved. But well, okay. So then, my own personal question is, why would anybody work with Teresa Grobecker from Grobeck Holland International?
That's
Why?
a great question. Yeah, fair question. So my firm was founded in 2012. We were the only company that launched in the cloud at that time. So I'm very familiar with technology. I'm the first one to go into this space and figure it out. I'm setting up my second fintech corporation now. So technology and real estate for me go hand in hand. And I don't know if there are any other brokers who understand what I know about cryptocurrency. So I would hope that I earn your trust along the way.
Absolutely. So as it turns out, throughout my research, nobody had the answers to the questions that I posed in tech or in real estate, mortgages. Nobody had the answers, but Teresa had the actual answers. So right now, she's the only one that can close escrows in Bitcoin in California, in San Francisco, and there's no other run-to person at this point. So that's all the reason to work with Grobeck Holland International. Anything else you'd like to add?
I really appreciate the endorsement. Thank you so much. Yeah.
How do people get a hold of your company?
Yeah, great question.
And do business with you?
Yeah, so we've retooled our entire website to be focused on Bitcoin. We still offer all the other traditional services. You can find all of this at grobeckerholland.com. I'll spell that GROBECKER. Holland, HOLLAND.com. There are 2 buttons there, one to start a conversation and one to create an account. So that's how you find us and get started.
And I think that's it.
That's great. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you. You're welcome.